So I guess it's time to take care of some housekeeping. So without further ado, this week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by the Rick Hader News Network. Definitely not fake news. House Republicans have made a huge move on Trump's tax plan. The U.S. House of Representatives successfully passed its 2018 budget resolution on Thursday without a single Democrat vote. Republicans in the Senate will now have the opportunity to pass the tax reform legislation and give President Trump something to sign into law. Voting in the House went nearly down party lines, with only 18 Republicans voting no. In the Senate, Republicans can only afford 2 of their own to vote no. The debate around tax cuts isn't new, and neither are the arguments. Those in favor of cutting taxes argue that it will boost the middle class, allowing businesses to thrive, thus creating more jobs, thereby increasing the actual dollar amount of taxes taken in, which will help fight the increasing national debt. Those opposed to tax cuts argue that there is nothing inherently wrong with cuckoldry and that it is a valid sexual fetish.
I mean, I think that they're distilling the point that the left wants to make on raising taxes.
Well, the joke that went over like a lead balloon aside
is that the rich should pay for all of our shit because they owe it to us and they're cucks for our financial needs. No, I get it.
I didn't even go that far into it. The actual argument is that they're saying that the right is giving tax cuts to the rich. You know, all their rich buddies, let's all just give each other tax cuts. Except the tax, like the rich pay, was it like 90% of the taxes in this country?
Yeah.
Like they bear 90% of the burden. You know, maybe they, I'm not saying that they can't handle it, but hey, if I were rich, I'd probably take a tax cut. Like, hey, it's my money, I earned it.
Yeah,
I put the effort into it. Why do I have to pay for you to be lazy?
But the other problem is that like rich people can shift their assets around. So instead of I don't own any cars, my company owns these cars, and the company pays a corporate tax, which is way different. Whereas like someone like me who's working as a private contractor getting paid, I have to hold back my own taxes so that I can pay them at the end of the year. And I end up paying something like 22% of my income in taxes because I didn't get it while the government had the ability to withhold some of it before it was given to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I end up paying, percentage-wise, I may pay less of my total income, but because of my total income, that percentage is more of my potential earnings. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Brackets.
Yeah. Like 20% of $1 million means almost nothing to someone with $1 million, but 20% of $40,000 means a fucking lot.
Yeah. 20% of your $20 is like that's a big chunk of your $20.
Yeah, like cuz with $8,000 I could pay my rent for the year.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I mean, even half of that if my taxes were cut, but
well, it's because the higher up in scale you go, then the smaller price of something outside of like the price of a cheeseburger is a cheeseburger no matter how much you make.
Exactly.
But
and so they can buy $100,000 car and I never could, but they don't have to. Whereas I have to own a car, so I have to buy, if I'm going to buy a decent car, it's going to cost me $4,000 or $5,000. I think that's what my car cost when I bought it.
Yeah.
And so that $5,000 is like 10% of my income for the year.
Yeah.
As opposed to someone buying even a $30,000 car that makes $250,000 a year, that's 10% of their income too. But that car is going to last them a lot fucking longer. Yeah. And it's a lot nicer.
Well,
anyway,
the thing about tax cuts is they generally do benefit guys like me and you, who are like when that's a reasonably good percentage of our like middle class, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, they should just repeal the income tax.
I think there's merit to that. I'm sure we're going to hear someone shit on it, but I think you make your taxes in other places.
Some stupid apologist that believes that we need to just give ourselves over to the government and let them take care of us because our rights come from the government. I got into an argument with someone about that this week. Where do our rights come from? Oh, the government gives them to us. Like, no, they fucking don't.
No, the government...
Go read the fucking Constitution, because those amendments don't say the people have the right to free speech. They say Congress shall the right to free speech shall not be infringed. It's telling Congress and the government, hey, you can't infringe this right. Not, hey, these people have this right. They already have this right. You can't do anything about it, fuckers.
The rights are inalienable.
16th Amendment. Repeal that fucking shit.
Yeah.
Make the government live within its means.
Yeah. I agree.